Thank you for joining us for Live in the Moment podcast. Today is May 28th. It's a Tuesday. It's a very special day because this is the very first episode. And I have three special guests that I'm going to let introduce in just a moment. But for those of you tuning in for the very first time, we are trying to see the importance of mentorship, athletes here in Buffalo. And again, on this couch, I have three very special student athletes, former student athletes. One thing they have in common, everything started here in Buffalo, New York. So I'm going to start, like I said, from oldest to youngest, and I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself so everybody at home knows who's on the couch for episode 1. So, Demone, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, so I guess I'm the oldest. My name is Demone Harris, born and raised here in Buffalo, New York. Grew up on the east side of Buffalo. Went to school here. Middle school, I went to Buffalo Academy of Science Charter School. Went to high school at Bishop Timon St. Jude. Then I went to UB, walked on football there, and eventually pursued a career in football. And now I'm going into my 7th year in the NFL.
And we're going to pick apart some questions from him in just a moment. But second oldest on the couch, go ahead and introduce yourself, a little bit about you.
What up, Nik McMillian from Buffalo, New York. Went to Canisius for a little minute. Then went to Wise my senior year. Currently at UB. This will be my 3rd season on the team. This has been cool so far. Grew up on the east side. That's it.
All right, last but not least.
Demari Clemons, I play for Bennett High School right now. I'm a sophomore going to my junior year. Just grinding and staying focused. That's really it.
All right, so like I said when I started, what's so special about this is you guys are all from Buffalo, New York, putting them on the map at different stages in each of your career. So whoever wants to go first, don't be scared, but let's just start off by talking about what it means to you personally. So we're all in different career paths, right? Stages, I should say. What does being an athlete in Buffalo, what does that mean to you at this point? I think it's oldest again, yeah.
Oldest again. Man, it's a lot. I mean, I feel like it's, and we'll talk about it obviously in this conversation, but there's not a lot we're necessarily working with here from a resource standpoint. From a, you go other places in the country and kids got different camps and different. You have just a lot more access to a lot of different things that kids here don't have. So I know for me to be in the shoes I'm in today and being in the league and everything, it means a tremendous honor to represent upstate New York for sure, because not a lot of kids make it out. I think in the past 10 years or something, there's only been like a handful of people drafted out of the state. So when you look at Florida, the number's endless. So to be from here and to represent our community as a professional athlete means a lot for sure.
And then just because you pointed out the limited opportunities here as an athlete in Buffalo, how do you remember taking advantage of the opportunities that could come up, or making your own, I should say?
But like you just said, making your own. I feel like when I was here, especially as a young athlete, high school, whatever the case may be, I just had to find ways to be innovative, to do things, whether it was to training outside or, all right, we got a warm day today, let's go out and do this or that, or, because you don't always get that here. But I would say, yeah, I was just innovative in my mindset as far as, and I, try to never let my foot off the gas pedal when it came to my work ethic. Like that's still how I am today. But yeah, I would say I was more innovative than maybe some other people that use, oh, it's snowing today, I can't. I'm like, no, it's snowing today, I can do something.
Yeah.
So that was my mentality.
And Nick, how about you? What does it mean to be an athlete from Buffalo when someone says that?
Yeah, I definitely take a lot of pride in it. I feel like coming from Buffalo, we just got to work 10 times harder to make it out because, like you said, resources and, people already looked overlooked. People think New York is a basketball state. So I'm just trying to keep working and show people that, we also got football players in New York too.
For me, it mean being an underdog. You got to go get it because I feel like in every other state like Georgia and all that, everything handed to people. So it's just coming from here, you got to get it from the mud. So it means a lot more when you earn it.
Facts.
And I'm going to pivot back to you, Nick. Keeping that in mind, we're talking about what it means, and everybody has, these goals that they want to achieve. How important is it, you being at UB right now, to surround yourself with the right people? And then also that can include, the right mentors and things like that. But just how do you keep on track?
Yeah, I'll definitely just surround yourself with the right people. Being around people that is either on the same track as you or already has done like what you want to do. Being from Buffalo and going to UB, I still got all my friends here, but on the same path, and I just got to stay focused and go my own path right now.
Demari, what about, how would you describe how to kind of keep, I know you're only a sophomore there right now, but still, I think this is kind of the most important time to make sure you're surrounded by the right people.
I mean, I surround myself with the right people. Like, I got like two good friends. Then everybody else is just, people just, in the back. But I like to surround myself with people that want to work hard, have the same mentality as me and want to, go same places. So that's how I stay focused.
Demone, going back to your time, who would you say maybe was that mentor, that guide for you?
Probably my head coach in high school. He was he played college football himself at Holy Cross University. He was like a two sport athlete in basketball and football. He holds records still at my high school for basketball, I think. But he just kind of kept me on a right path because where I come from, I grew up in the East Ferry Projects, not too far from here. But there wasn't a lot of positive things going on. So it's just, I think if you're determined to do something, if you're a kid determined to do something, you can find a way. It's just about avoiding those distractions and being deliberate and intentional with how you're moving.
I feel like you guys are at different stages, but there's always distractions out there, right? No matter who you are, what you do, right?
They only heighten as you heighten.
Right. We could talk about so many things. I think that's a challenge no matter what age or what path that you're on. But, well, maybe you could talk to me a little bit about the transition that you remember going from college, right? And then your first year in the NFL trying to juggle.
Man. Well, first it was really like a culture shock because I would say before I made it to the NFL, I hadn't spent more than maybe 2-3 days outside of Buffalo at a time. Maybe I don't think I spent more than a week out of Buffalo. So I originally go undrafted to Tampa Bay Buccaneers straight from UB. So you talk about you going from the winter to it's December and it's sunny outside and people outside. I'm not ever used to seeing that in my life ever. So it's like. It was an adjustment, especially my first off season. It was just like we got so much free time, and as a rookie, they keep you kind of occupied, but as much as they can. But it was a complete flip of the coin. Now it's like it's on you. They say you're really a pro. It's on you the way you take care of your body. And for me, I've always been that way. So I fell in love with the aspect. And shoot, for me, it weeded a lot of guys out because a lot of guys, like you said, from Georgia and those big programs, they go to those schools and things are handed to them. They got like such a system to keep them the way they are and keep them in line. But when you get to the league, it's on you. So coming from UB, I feel like I was at an advantage in that sense because it was like I've always been like that. So it wasn't a hard transition, but it was definitely like a shock at first with all the freedom and things that are on you.
And then Nick, what about you going from the high school transitioning to the D1 life of football? Like, what do you think the biggest adjustment that you had to make?
I just felt like Division football was a way bigger commitment, like way more meetings, longer meetings. The lifts was like high school, you really don't lift for real. College, man, you got to lift every morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. So I feel like really just adapting to the college schedule was like the biggest thing I had to adapt to.
And then, Demone, going back to your time, what you remember the most about mentorship, how influential were like the camps that you might have went to or the speakers that may have came into town? Do you feel like anybody kind of stuck out to you? And how important do you think, if you're thinking right now and it's hard to remember, how important is it to, be that person now?
I can't say I remember one specific speaker, so to say, at my time. You talking about like when I was at UB?
Yeah.
We had
high school too. Sometimes
high school,
I know
but there's always, you hear those constant like repetition of like just wise advice in your head over time. It's like sometimes it's the same message with those kind of people. That I think that's very important for those talks to happen in high schools and college when you have outside like somebody that's been through something. I remember my rookie year, I'll say when I was in Tampa Bay, we had Inky Johnson come talk to us as a rookie group, and just hearing his story of how he was supposed to be a first-round draft pick, and then he makes a tackle, arm goes limp, and he's now he is the way he is, and but still influencing people. I think it was powerful to for that message more is like you're bigger than a football player kind of thing. So yeah, there's been a lot of important messages that I've received over the years, but and I think they're very important to the development of a young football player.
And I know you said earlier in the conversation there's only been a handful of people from Buffalo to kind of make it to the level that you're at right now. What does it mean to you to be one of those names and to now sit up here with two people who I'm sure are trying to eventually get to where you are?
I mean, it like I said before, it means a lot. I mean, it just it's an incredible honor, but it's a responsibility at the same time. And it's knowing that you have guys that are sitting on this couch they're looking at you and like, hey, I don't have a blueprint to this thing, but I see that someone else that looks like me that went to maybe the same school as me made it to where I want to be at, and maybe I can just for me back when I was in your guys' shoes, I had Khalil Mack. I was a true freshman and he was a redshirt senior at UB, so I was like, man, if I could just get like a little bit of what this guy's got going on in the football world, I'll be okay. So just kind of was fortunate to be around him for a year and lock into see his routine and see how he handled himself as a pro and different things like that and things I adapted into my game. So it's an incredible honor, but at the same time, it's a responsibility.
And Nick, what about you? I know you're at UB. You guys have a new coach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Tell me a little bit about that transition and what you're trying to do with Pete Limbo there at the head coach.
It definitely was a whole big transition. We got a whole new staff in a matter of like 4 or 5 weeks. So really just learning their coaching style. It was challenging, but it was fun though, just meeting new people. But of course, Limbo though, I'm trying to win some games for sure. I'm definitely trying to win and just get you beat back to where it was.
That's fair. What do you remember most about UB?
Oh man,
let's flashback real quick.
Man, what was that? 7 years ago now.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long. I guess it wasn't that long ago. But you mean my entire experience? I just remember having really good teammates, a really good camaraderie in the locker room. We won together, we lost together, and it was about the guys in that locker room. And we went through a lot together. We lost one of our teammates together. I remember my sophomore year, RIP my guy Solo, but man, I just remember it being a loving atmosphere and it being a camaraderie that you can't find anywhere else. I still haven't found again in the NFL. So I mean, I would tell these guys, cherish your time, even in high school and college, because the higher you get in this thing, the more business it becomes. And the more business it becomes, the less personal it becomes. And sometimes you can feel like an independent contractor versus being a football player. So
through all those moments, I know you have a Super Bowl that you were a part of. And I think that's most players that I talk to, that's like the dream once you get to league, because there's nothing really higher than that. Right. How would you describe that experience to these two young men here that probably aspire to do something like that?
Man, I can't even put that experience into words for real. Like, I mean, I just remember a confetti coming down. You're making snow angels in the confetti. You're around your teammates. You're around GOATs. I'm like playing with Kels and Mahomes and Tyreek and all those guys. And man, it was just a blessing. It was like it was really something I couldn't put into words. And it's like kind of brought all the culmination of years of hard work, kind of brought it to a head. And really, to have my family there and my people there with me to celebrate was everything, man. I hope every football player at any level gets to experience the highest level of winning a championship, because it put things into perspective, and you see your sacrifices in a way pay off because you work so hard to get to that point.
And then switching over a little bit, I know I asked Demone a little bit about mentorship and who's influenced him. I'll ask you, Nick, kind of the same question or so where you're at right now. Who so far up until this point would you say has had the biggest influence over you, whether that's a coach, a mentor, a teammate, even a family member?
I think like my little league coaches really. Now I played under Coach Bish, long live Bish, is the GOAT. But I feel like at a young age, he just instilled like the dog in me, really. I feel like I just carried me throughout my whole career. And I feel like he always gonna stick with me. Just the things he taught me, the things he said, the things, how he coached me. He never like, I got rid of he never like showed favoritism to me. He coached me the same as he coached everybody else. So I feel like I just never like expected me to be treated different from everybody else, and I just wanted to be coached the same as the head coach, somebody who wasn't playing.
And Demari, what about you? Who would you say so far up until this point is that biggest influence in your life right now?
My dad right now, because he sacrificed a lot to get me where I'm at, and he gonna keep sacrificing. So I really appreciate my dad for that. Still, my dad.
And I think the landscape of sports in general, mental health has become like up here with just about anything you do. So I kind of want to bring that up in this topic. I think Black men, somehow mental health and the priority kind of gets in the back somehow. So I guess, Demone, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize mental health, and how important is that to you? Because I know myself forget to sometimes. That's self-care. But how do you try
I
to?
mean, for the longest time, I feel like I didn't. It's everything, because I felt like football was always the outlet for everything, and it was always the answer, and always like, okay, you use your whatever you're dealing with, trauma or whatever you're currently dealing with, to always try to channel it towards ball, and over time I just realized that that's not necessarily always healthy to do. So I've just learned other ways to whether it be meditation, whether it be, I'm a man of faith, so whether it be I tap in with God and prayer or listen to a sermon or something, really like do things to feed my spirit on the daily. I just found those things have been helping me over time versus senseless like venting and senseless just going on expressing yourself in ways that isn't necessarily the best. So I feel like I've learned ways to just pour into myself mentally and spiritually on a daily basis.
And Nick, kind of the same thing. If that's something that you think about, but how do you prioritize when you kind of think of that self-care for you as an athlete? How do you take care of your mental health?
Yeah, I feel like getting into my career, same as like I didn't really care about my mental health, but I'll say that within the past like year, couple months to a year, I've been paying more attention to it. I try to read the Bible at least every morning, at least one scripture, just to clear my mind before I start my day and get positive energy in my body to start the day off.
And Demari, what about you? Mental health, what does that mean to you? And is that something that you prioritize right now?
Being so young, life just been cruising on.
Life's not lifing right
life
now.
ain't lifing yet, gang.
But I try to, keep God in my life.
Yeah.
So that's about it right now. Nothing really been going on so far. So I just living life.
That's okay. That's fair. Nick, right. Life's not life, and enjoy that. Enjoy that. Yes. Nick, let's kind of go back to you because I kind of want to. I feel like the whole college athlete world with NIL deals to the social media that you guys have, like it's changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've been covering sports for about 8 years, and in that time span, it's totally different. The conversations I have with coaches are totally different than what I used to have. They're just trying to keep people because the transfer portal is something very real.
Crazy.
I'm just trying to get like maybe thinking about all those things that I just said. What would you say is the biggest challenge for a college athlete right now?
Right now, probably staying loyal to wherever they committed to a school. Like, I feel like with the transfer portal and NIL, kids leaving for dumb reasons. Like, nobody's really leaving just because so people was leaving because a starting job was given to somebody else or another school has more money. But instead of beating the kid out, they'd rather just hit the portal and leave. But the transfer portal, that joint crazy, so they hit the portal and get stuck in there and end up nowhere. And they could have just stayed where they was at.
And Demone, like from your time, I keep saying like you're ancient. I'm sorry, but it's just from your time, a long time ago. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like hearing what Nick is saying, does that kind of like, is it just kind of crazy to think about? To me,
it's like it's insane. Like what the money I can get, but I applaud that because I'm like, I want these kids to get every dime because for so long we didn't get anything. And
Mhm.
they my last couple years at UB, they moved us on campus so they didn't have to give us off campus housing checks and things like that. It's like, bruh, like I'm busting my outfit out here, you know what I mean? Like, let me get a little $500 a month, little sign. You know? We wasn't getting none of that. So I mean, I'm happy for all college athletes. Was really I'm kind of concerned with is like you said, like a guy might enter the transfer portal just because he lost a starting job.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, there's gonna be competition everywhere. Like that's part of the game. That's part of coming. Like when I got to UB, I was a 5th string walk-on DN. And my first or second day of training camp, my position coach told me I will never play it down at UB. Like straight up told me that you will never play it down here. And I was like, a weak-minded kid is like, as soon as the season over, I'm gonna go enter the transfer portal. With me, I'm like, bro, I hear that's motivation.
Yeah.
So it's like I work my way up, but eventually become all conference. But, you know what I mean? Whatever. The story goes on. But I think it makes you, those situations make you as a college athlete. It makes you and it makes you into a better athlete. It's adversity, because a lot of these kids that get to Division I college program, you've been told you the best thing since sliced bread. Like everybody was the man at their high school if you go on D1. Everybody.
Yeah,
even if you transfer from JUCO, everybody was the man where you came from. Why are you going to be the man where you at now? So I think that's a big difference. Like, and in those pressure situations, like I said, make better players. And you hate to see that. And some of these kids, they transfer, and I'm like, academically speaking, it's like, do all these credits even transfer to this school or that school? Or you got to be able to you losing credits, you losing classes, So it's a lot of factors that are going into that. And you know, obviously, I hope athletes are making the best decisions, but like you said, there's some out there that aren't making the best.
Yeah, there's a lot of changes, and I think the worth ethic, the way it's shaped, it kind of, like you said, people will just leave because they're not starting, which is different. But also, as a former athlete, I remember playing 2 sports and getting less than half of what my boyfriend at the time made, and it was just like,
he was a Division I college player.
Yes,
football player.
Basketball. So it was just, I think that's a woman athlete type of thing, but I understand what it's like.
It happens in the professional world
to grow. Yes, it does.
WNBA to NBA
yes, it does.
salaries.
So this is a topic that I kind of I know you picked on your points, but do you feel like maybe there's gonna be a time, like I kind of agree, like they should be getting something, especially these players that are bringing so much money into a program and they get absolutely nothing. But it's also getting out of hand a little bit, because it's like, they'll get like one big deal and then they kind of have to, it's kind of like football. You give all the money to the QB and then you're trying to like,
you kind of
spread it out
to, what are the linemen getting in the NIL deals? That's what I'm curious about.
Right.
What is your right tackle getting?
Do you feel like there's a way it could eventually, I feel like anytime you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it'll always be skewed, because you look at the NFL, you look at that quarterback. Our quarterback, I paid him 4-year, $180 million contract, Kirk Cousins. There's no one else in the locker room that's getting, I don't even know what that breaks down to per year.
A lot?
Whatever, a lot, exactly. So there's no other, so it always trickles down for that, because the quarterback has the ball in his hand every play. And just like, then your next and most important player. So I think that'll always be that. But I think as it grows over time, I think there will be more opportunities to make money for those other positions. Yeah. And there at least should be that way.
Yeah, no, agreed. There's a lot more that you guys are facing for sure compared to what you have faced, but it doesn't necessarily, it kind of just, the challenges just kind of like reshape and change, I feel like.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we kind of heard from Nik and Demari about, a little bit of their goals, some of what they're going through currently and where they're at in their stages. So I just kind of want to end this with some advice from you. And what's like that piece of advice that you wish you would have gave yourself when you were their age?
I mean, I feel like I was like this when I was your guys' age. I'm not gonna lie, but I would always say, no matter what, with all these distractions, you guys got so many distractions nowadays, even more than what I had. Like when I was in college. Like my freshman year, that's when Instagram was just first starting, like 2012, 2013, something like that. Instagram was just kind of catching wind. People were transitioning from Facebook to Instagram, MySpace, all that crazy stuff.
MySpace?
Not MySpace. But my biggest thing would be, bro, keep the main thing, period. Period. It doesn't matter. Like, leave that girl alone, leave that party alone, leave that whatever alone. Because I promise you, the more you elevate in life, period, that stuff's just gonna come anyway. And I'm not saying that's the goal by any means, but you think like, oh, I'm a D1 football player. Oh, I'm this lit high school football player in Buffalo. Like, this is the peak of, and I got all blah 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 blah. This motion going on, bro. You take it to where you really want to take it and really pursue your dream and keep that focus and keep the main thing, bro. The world is your oyster. You can do and have anything you want, and like I'm a testament to it. I'm blessed, and y'all could be blessed too. It's like you've already been gifted by God to be in the seat that you're in, athletically, with a good head on your shoulders. But like I said, there's so many distractions, and the margin of error is this then from the next guy that's in California that's a sophomore in high school, and he might have not did. You might have skipped out on one workout that he did that he got better than you in, and that's what was always in the back of my mind. Like, there's somebody out there that's trying to outwork me, and I can't let that person outwork me. And that's what was my motivation for getting me up every day and every morning. And obviously, you got your family, the people that have always supported you, where you come from, and that. But keep the main thing no matter what, bro. Like, and find a way. If there is no way, you find a way. Make a way. Be innovative. Find a way to get the work in. Find a way to get your grades done, because you got to do things you don't want to do to be where you want to be. So I would say that.
And I know I've been spearheading this, but this is an open conversation. So is there anything, Demari or Nick, that you want to ask Demone that I didn't ask him already, that's through this conversation sitting on your mind? No pressure at all. I want to open the floor before I end things, because it's not every day that you
on camera, off camera,
to get him here, someone like him who's like I said, trying to be where you guys hope to be one day. So is there any question you have? So much pressure.
Nah, no pressure, man.
I'll probably say, once you made it to the league, what was like your biggest distraction?
Biggest distraction. I think ultimately, like, because so you're saying, because I'm entering this now social pool of, okay, people know who you are, people know you have funds, people know you have X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
people.
exactly.
Okay, so I would say that all that and money, like, in my opinion, it makes you 10 times the person that you already are, in my opinion. So it's like, I was already always a homebody. I was always a person that I go at home. I'm sitting at home watching anime with my little brother when I'm just going in my workout, and like, that's who I always was. So when I got to the league, like, sure, those distractions come as far as women, as far as people pulling you to try to party. But if you stay true to yourself and who you are, and I don't think those distractions really get a hold of you. I feel like it's when people step outside themselves and try to become something that they never was. And that's when those distractions ultimately take, I'll just step out this one night. Then that one night turns into two. Then that 2 night turns into 2 to 3 times a week. So for me, it was more like, nah, I know what got me to where I got to, and I'm going to keep on that same path. If anything, I'm going to intensify the work ethic and the grind. And like, bro, when you get to that, there are going to be so many people that come out the woodwork, so many people that, and the hardest thing when you get there is saying no sometimes. Really, most of the time, is saying no. Like, nah, I'm good on that. And people will start putting label, you change, you this or that. And it's not even that. I was never like that before. So I would say, stay true to yourself, because those distractions will come. But if you're true to who you are, it shouldn't ever be an issue.
Some great advice to end the talk. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining me for the very first episode. I think this was a great conversation. I just want to quickly thank Crossbar Athletics for helping us, I should say, be in this space. I have 3 legends in the making sitting next to me right now. And with that just being said, just a reminder, there is a camp happening Saturday, June 29th, boys and girls. K through 12 at Kennedy High School, and there's still time to register for that. But for that, that's going to conclude episode 1. So thank you guys again.
All right.
Until the next time.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you.